Before we switch to Harvey, remember when they went at large, it was because there was a tremendous fear that immigrants would be elected to council, and they were. In 1913, there were 21 members of the Columbus City Council, including 3 German socialists that opposed the war. But all over the German village, all over the country, they were worried because Italians and Hungarians and Polish people were in government, and it wasn't the best families. So the at-large system was designed to make sure that the best families can control property and control the city. And that, of course, were white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, rich families. Harvey.
Well, I just want to comment, I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Milk, about Harvey Milk, but when San Francisco switched from at-large to districts, he became the first openly gay elected official in a major government in the country. So that was obviously an immediate impact. I want to say a couple of things really, a little bit out from left field. I've been meditating on Columbus. I grew up in Columbus, and it was a remarkably awful town when I was growing up here in the 50s. Very conservative, right-wing. Woody Hayes was God, all that stuff. Since that time, Columbus has become, as testified by the community festival here, one of the hippest towns in the country, if not the world. I mean, we have the second largest per capita gay population in the country, and it's just a truly amazing place. There's something holding Columbus back, and that's the name of this town. It's a terrible name. Christopher Columbus was an awful guy, and I actually lived, when I left Columbus, I lived on a hippie farm in Massachusetts, and they were right next to a town called Amherst. And Lord Jeffrey Amherst was the inventor of germ warfare. He was the supreme British commander of the French Indian War, and he at Fort Pitt gave the Native Americans blankets that he knew were infected by smallpox. And we started a campaign to change the name of Amherst. And we actually ran a contest to see who would come up with the best alternative name. We came up with a great one, actually, and I'm going to predict that eventually that town will have its name changed. The name we came up with was Emily, because Emily Dickinson is from Amherst originally. And I think we should start a major campaign to change the name of Columbus, Ohio. I think it's a disgrace that this Indian killing, native killing, horrible man. Christopher Columbus was so brutal to the Native Americans that after his 3rd voyage here, the Spaniards actually arrested him for brutality towards the Native Americans. For the Spaniards to do such a thing, it's pretty amazing. So I want to talk, since my area of, I totally agree with all this, and I really applaud your efforts here. I mean, we really need to have a more democratic situation in Columbus, although we should stop calling it Columbus. We got to come up with a good name. I work on energy mostly. I have my bike in the back there. I biked down here. This is a pretty good bike town, actually, and we have to commend the government and the community at large for really making this a much more bike-friendly town than many, many others. Aside from the consideration of all the bike paths that have been put in, and some of them are really, really good. I have to say that drivers in Columbus, in central Ohio, are generally much friendlier to bike riders than in many other towns I've been in. You take your life in your hands when you go in some of the other cities in this country riding a bicycle. So I think promoting central Ohio as a bike-friendly area is really a big deal. Of course, it helps that it's very flat, but I ride the bike path on the east side down to Three Creeks and then out to Pickerington, and it's a huge deal. And I'm sure that they've just opened up more up north, and it makes a huge difference in this town, as I'm sure many of you are aware. I also want to talk about energy now. We were instrumental, Bob and the Free Press, in shutting down the trash burning power plant. And many of you and your children are alive today because we did that. It was a very, very toxic, you're welcome, it was a very toxic polluter, a terrible scourge on the society, and you know, it's completely gone now. There's not even a trace of the thing. We could have a better recycling outcome.
Yeah.
We really need a lot better, a lot more astute recycling program in this town. We also need to see a lot more solar going in, and one of the things I think we really should look at is the huge, gargantuan parking lot out by the airport. That could be one of the biggest solar fields in the world, really. I mean, there's acres and acres and acres of bare land out there, and all over the world people are putting solar panels on canopies on one-story or, you know, on open-air parking areas. And I think that would be something to look at. Be very, very important. It would, you know, we don't think of Columbus as being, Central Ohio as being particularly sunny, but it is, and solar panels are really advancing with tremendous impact. And so I think we need to look at solar on the rooftops in this town. I once did an initiative with Buck Reinhardt, if anybody can remember that guy, to promote solar in this town. It didn't really go very far, but it's something we really need to do. There's not much wind here, but we do have a windmill out at a car lot on 270, and it's definitely doable in this community as well. Number one, of course, is increased efficiency, and we really need to increase the efficiency of our systems. We also had one of the worst outcomes with the invasion of a Murdoch-appointed governor, John Kasich. I'm sure, as many of you recall, one of the first things he did when he got into office was kill the trains. Columbus is one of the largest, if not the largest, capital cities in the world without passenger rail service. I mean, it's sick. My niece was actually on the last passenger train to go in or out of Columbus in 1979, for God's sakes. And you know, you just can't ride a rail car in or out of this town. That has to change. So Kasich took all the money and put it in this ridiculous freeway system. We really need a much better mass transit system in this town. The buses just don't cut it. And you know, the Republicans, owned and operated by the auto lobby, really need to be beat back on this. We also, of course, need to watch very, very closely. Columbus is known worldwide as the home of the stolen 2004 election. Nothing really has changed. We're not in any better shape now, if not maybe even worse than we were in 2004 when the election was stolen from John Kerry, who then proceeded to not say a word. We need to continue to work on election protection. And this initiative to restore city government, some democracy in city government, that's very important. We need to pursue that. So thanks for letting me on this panel. Let's think about new names for the city. And I think what we need to do is have a referendum or a contest through the free press. Everybody come up with names. We decide on one, and we just stop calling this place Columbus and start calling it, you know, the new name. And let's come up with a good one, and let's do it. I like Emily, but she wasn't from here, so let's come up with another great female artist, or maybe Nancy from Nancy Wilson, right? She was from Columbus. It would be great to call this town Nancy. Let's think about that. With that, I'll turn it back to Bob.
All right, we're going to take a variety of questions. We do have the Ohio Rights Group here, and make sure you sign their petition. It's for the medical use of marijuana, but more important to Harvey and I, because we're not sick that often. Harvey occasionally is a little sicker than I am, but, is that it has industrial hemp. And again, the industrial use of hemp is essential to a green economy. We want to see hemp growing on the roofs all over Central Ohio. Harvey's informed me, he's the expert, that it grows like a weed.
It sure does.
Well, the thing is, I think as you all know, if you put a marijuana seed in the ground in the spring and you do nothing to it in the fall, you get a 10-foot plant and a 6-foot federal agent. So we want to get rid of the federal agent.
And I want to tell you,
I think we should be referring to him, by the way, as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson's favorite crop. They really pushed it. And we're now in a weird situation where in Kentucky, the state to the south of us, Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul are both pushing for legal hemp. I mean, it's amazing. So it's good.
It's good for everybody.
All right. Questions on and dialogue. We'd like to hear your ideas so we can write about them and get
And come up to the mic. Come up to the mic, please. Maybe move it out further, Tim.
Watch your corners.
There you go.
My question is this, we're lucky enough right now to have the Columbus Electric Company. We have our own unit. Okay, so essentially with solar, what is the status with the city of Columbus as far as the electrical municipality? That's what it is. And wouldn't this be an advantage for us, is like to move solar a step up? Because as a municipality, we don't have to make a profit. You know, what we can do is supply the people. Now, going with a private company like AEP, there's profit involved. And it would seem that we could basically
Divert the funds.
AEP if we move green.
Well, that's a good point. And you gotta, very good, Tim. You gotta remember that always municipal utility companies are under attack from private corporations. You always have to defend your municipal utility company. That's how Dennis Kucinich actually became a great hero. He defended the Cleveland Muni Light, and that's how he got elected to Congress all those years. And we have a municipal light that our mayor has tried to give away, for God's sakes. And we really need to protect that thing. And with a municipal power company, as Tim says, you can generate electricity without having to make a profit. I've got to tell you that Los Angeles Department of Water and Power has a muni, and they are putting some very, very progressive adjustments to the rate structure out there that are promoting a total avalanche of solar facilities out in Los Angeles. And so this is something that we have to pay very close attention to, is our muni light system, and really defend it.
All right, and many of you know Harvey often emphasizes this, that the cost of the renewables is now the same or lower than the dirty fossil fuel. But we know that they're going to go down fighting. The last couple wars, from my perspective, were both, oil wars in Iraq and in Afghanistan. Just in the north of Afghanistan is the largest supply of oil left on Earth, and we try to avoid that. Other question.